I'm looking today at Robert Oppenheimer's chart, and I'm going to look very quickly at the Hiroshima bombing chart, which is probably the most interesting chart that I've ever seen, and it was the chart that got me interested in astrology many years ago. I'm going to choose 5 points that I think are quite interesting, or very interesting, well, to me anyway. The first thing that I noticed when looking at the chart in front of me, which is Robert Oppenheimer's birth chart, is that he has a locomotive chart which is pulled along by the planet Uranus. Uranus is a planet of innovation, electricity, eccentricity, change, disruption, revolution, and it's a larger, slower moving planet, which are these planets that you find here. His birth path number is 22, which is also ruled by Uranus. So to me, that's a signature that he's got, because it's a master number. He's got an important life path to follow, probably very much signified by the energy of this planet here. The other planet that I found interesting is another of these slower moving planets here. You often find, especially not so much with Jupiter, but with Saturn, Uranus and Pluto, when there are world changes, it's these planets that tend to come into play. They tend to be disruptive forces in many ways. You can get Saturn, Uranus and Pluto often indicated in earthquakes. But if you're looking at perhaps atomic power, you're going to be looking more at these two, the Uranus and the Pluto. You've got Robert Oppenheimer, it's a real mouthful that, Pluto on the ascendant here, which is incredibly important. Anything that is stuck onto a faster moving planet, when these larger planets stick onto a faster moving planet, is important, or if it's stuck on these vertical or horizontal axis as well. So that's the signature I would get from looking at his chart very quickly. Something else that I noticed here, he's got a Venus, which is his love language, his values, what he finds attractive, where he finds value in life in general, in Aries, which is very forthright, very forward moving. He's also got that conjunct Jupiter, which again is a larger moving planet, which expands everything. And that's quite a combination, which is shown in his love life during the film as well. But if you put that almost element of hubris, great word, with these very strong Plutonic forces and Uranus forces in his chart, you're sort of getting a story together there. Let's have a look at this chart in front of you at the moment is the Hiroshima bombing chart. Once again, to look at the axis here, which is the vertical and horizontal axis. And I'm looking for conjunctions now between, this is a moment in time rather than a birth chart like the last one. So I'm looking for conjunctions between small planets and larger planets. And we're looking at the Saturn, the Uranus and the Pluto again. As I said, you find those planets in earthquake charts. Most of the time in earthquake charts, you find there's a lopsided value to the chart or picture of the chart here, where this side here is left empty, while the other side is compact. And that is an imbalance. And life in general needs to be balanced. So first things that you notice, we're looking at these planets again. Uranus is conjunct the MC here. And that again is explosive, electric and atomic power. You have also got Pluto, which we've talked about, which again is from the plutonium, is from the word, other way around probably, conjunct the sun over here, and you've also got Saturn conjunct the moon. So when I first saw this, and this must have been about 40 years ago, I can remember somebody talking to me about this chart saying, we've just had astrology lessons, and I was really interested. And they were saying the chart that they looked at was the Hiroshima bombing. And I was like, tell me about it. And they couldn't tell me anything. So I think I did this by hand. And once I got it up in front of me, I was like, oh yeah, I can see that. I can see why that is a really, strong chart is what I would say there. And a thought that I had as I was getting these charts together, if it is true that we can actually read geometrical patterns of energy, the most distressing thought to me that I can ever think of is what happens when that energy is destroyed and the geometry basically isn't a pattern anymore. You know, what happens to us, the people that, were there at the time, and it feels to me like a huge hole is made. And to me, if I was thinking of a word that could encompass purgatory, that isn't a word, but that is what I would think of. I'm going to leave it there. I hope that helps in some way. If you're not interested in astrology, buy Howard Sasportas's book, The Gods of Change, to get yourself started, and look at your own chart. It's a great book to see how we do change and how hopefully it's positive rather than negative like this. Thanks, bye.
ベガーサルに至る。しかもなお冒険を継続せんか、ついに我が民族の滅亡を将来するのみならず、中和帝国とともに終始と和の解放に協力せる諸名法に対し遺憾の要表せざるを得ず、帝国臣民にして先人に死し祝域に